Uh-oh. Three friends, Kyle, Harry, and Sherry, are locked in separate cages on a deserted island in the middle of a lake. Kyle's cage has a huge ice block on top of it. There's a tank with boiled water on top of Harry's cage. Only Sherry's cage hatch is locked, and the metal padlock is pretty heavy. The key is inside Kyle's cage. Can you find a way for the three friends to escape? It's daytime and the weather is hot. Therefore, the ice over Kyle's cage will soon melt. He'll be able to grab the key and escape through the hatch on top of his cage. As for the boiled water, it will eventually cool down. After that, Harry will be able to escape through the hatch on top of his cage, joining Kyle. Then the two guys can unlock Sherry's cage. The guys are now released from their cages. They begin to look for a way to escape and come up with three options. They can try to drive this old car, walk to the nearest village and ask for help, or use this rowboat, which floats not far from the shore. Can you help them choose the best option? It's a deserted island in the middle of a lake, remember? The first two options simply make no sense. The guys use the boat and manage to reach the mainland by midnight. Luckily, they find an abandoned cabin to spend the night. But it only has one match. There's an oil lamp, a fireplace, and a furnace in this cabin. What should they light first? Yeah, it's the match. Woo! The next morning, Kyle wakes up early. Harry and Sherry are still sleeping. He decides to go investigate the area. Soon Kyle finds a brand new airplane. He immediately gets behind the wheel to pick up his friends and fly away from this cursed forest. But suddenly, the owner of the vehicle shows up. He pushes Kyle out of the airplane without a parachute. There's only hard ground below him, but Kyle manages to survive. How? The airplane is still on the ground. Sherry wakes up second and decides to go pick some berries for breakfast. Finds three bushes with different types of berries, but only one of them is safe. Can you guess which one? Let's take a look at the first bush. Although raspberries are edible, a scorpion is hiding inside the bush, so Sherry should stay away from it. The second bush has a bunch of pretty berries, but there are no animal traces around the bush, so it's probably poisonous. As for the third option, it's a simple gooseberry bush. It has some animal traces around it. It seems quite reliable. Meanwhile, Harry wakes up in the cabin. He realizes that the room is on fire and he's trapped. The smoke prevents him from seeing the windows, and the door is blocked by the fire too. The firefighters are on their way, but he needs to think quickly to survive while he's waiting for help. Harry comes up with four options: to stay on the ground and stay as low as possible, to get on a chair and stay close to the ceiling, to take his clothes off to stay cooler, or to hide under the desk. Can you help him figure out the best solution? Harry should stay low to the ground. That way, he'll be better protected from fumes and smoke. The locals save Harry and Sherry from the fire and imprison them in their village. But soon, they get bored and decide to offer the prisoners a chance to escape. Harry and Sherry are put on opposite sides of one room. Both friends are facing a wall. The task is to write down a number between 10,000 and 1 million on a piece of paper without knowing what the other person wrote. If the two numbers end up being different, Harry and Sherry will be captured forever. But if they write the same number, the locals will set them free. Unfortunately, their ears are plugged with headphones playing loud music, so they can only communicate using sign language. Also, their feet are chained to the ground, so they cannot turn around. But yet, they manage to pick the same number. How? There were windows on the walls, so Harry and Sherry could see each other in the reflection of the glass. They could easily communicate using sign language. Meanwhile, Kyle is traveling through the jungle on his own to find his friends. Kyle takes a look inside his filtered water bottle. Ooh, bad news. He's almost out of water. He wanders around and finds 4 sources of water: a juicy cactus, a pond with salty salt water, a clear still lake, and a silt stream. What source of water should Kyle choose? Most cactuses are toxic, so instead of fighting his thirst, Kyle will get a stomachache. Salty salt water will dehydrate him. Stagnant water from the still lake is probably infested with all kinds of bacteria. So the best choice would be the silty stream. It contains nothing that Kyle's filter water bottle can neutralize. Kyle keeps on walking. Suddenly, he spots a crocodile and freaks out. Can you see it too? The croc is over here. Kyle is trying to escape, but the jungle is full of other wild animals. He only has 2 options: to sail on a motorboat across the lake when he saw the crocodile, or to sail on a regular boat across the Shark River. Can you help him pick the best option? Kyle should choose the second option. Sharks don't inhabit waters, so it's just a cool name. Meanwhile, Harry and Sherry are walking through the mountains. They find a cave and decide to explore it. Suddenly, the ground begins to tremble and falling stones block the way out. The guys wander around and find 3 tunnels leading outside. A hungry mountain lion is waiting in the first tunnel. He hasn't eaten in 2 years. The second tunnel is infested with unknown flesh-eating insects. They love to feast on all types of mammals, including humans. And the third passage is guarded by a dangerous runaway criminal. He's ready to get rid of any witnesses, just to avoid going to prison again. Which way is more or less safe? Harry and Sherry should choose the first passage. Mountain lions cannot live for 2 years without food. Harry and Sherry keep on walking. They argue about human body capabilities. They make a deal. Harry would go to Antarctica, and Sherry would travel to the Sahara Desert. They'll both try to survive in those locations for 3 days without any shelter or clothes, but with plenty of food and water. Who has the best chance of surviving? In Antarctica, the temperatures are freezing all the time, and without any cover, Harry would turn into a snowman in less than a day. In the Sahara, on the other hand, the heat is intense only during the day. It's rather cool there during the night, and a water supply will help Sherry fight dehydration. Harry and Sherry reach the top of a mountain. Suddenly, they spot Kyle in the woods. Unfortunately, the mountain road is very confusing. There are 3 possible routes the guys can take to reach Kyle. Can you help them choose the best option? Only the third route actually leads to Kyle. Finally, Kyle, Harry, and Sherry reunite. The guys approach the harbor, hoping to find a vessel to go home. Luckily, they meet a family of 3. Each of them is ready to give the guys a ride on their own boat. Timothy says, "My boat is the best. I bought it 6 months ago and named it after my wife." His son Thomas says, "My boat is 10 years old and has never let me down." And Monica, Timothy's wife, says, "My boat is used, but I know the route better than anyone. Trust me." And only one of them is telling the truth. Can you guess who? Take a closer look at Timothy's boat. Its name is Michelle, not Monica, which means his story is a lie. Thomas lied about the age of his boat. The engraving says 1980. So the guy should say yes to Monica. Here's Hudson. He's a college teacher. It's the last day of the semester, so he has a bunch of paperwork in his office. Suddenly, someone turns off the electricity in the entire building. Hudson goes to the basement with generators. There he sees a turned-off switch and 3 people standing next to it. They all say they didn't touch anything, but one of them is lying. The janitor says, "The lights went out when I came here to clean up." Rebecca says, "I'm a new student. I got lost in the corridors and accidentally got here." And Nick says, "I'm a last-year graduate. I came here to find a toy owl, a souvenir I had hidden here many years ago." Who's lying? The janitor has a bucket and a mop, so he's not lying. There's a toy owl in the corner of the room, so Nick is telling the truth. Rebecca is lying. It's the end of the semester, so she can't be new at this time. One of Hudson's students, Paul, has a crush on another student named Liza. Once he got a note from her saying she liked him. So Paul decides to write her back and ask her out. Unfortunately, he doesn't remember which desk is Liza's. There are two possibilities. Can you guess which desk is the one he needs? If you remember, the note was written in green ink. There's a similar green pen lying on the desk on the right. So this is most likely Liza's desk. After classes, Hudson is leaving the building and faces a group of his students. They ask him to take their picture. Can you spot an odd detail in the resulting shot? This guy here has 3 hands. Liza and Paul are having fun outside during their winter break. Liza is learning how to skate on the lake, and Paul is skiing in the forest. Who's not smart? Liza. The ice on the lake is cracking, and there's no one around to help her. Unlucky Liza. Paul, meanwhile, returns to the dorm. He's starving, so he opens the fridge that he shares with his roommate Nick. Right away, Paul begins to yell at his roommate. "Nick, you stole my food again!" Nick replies, "You're a liar. I didn't." Paul says, "Well, I have proof. I took a picture of our fridge before leaving." Can you tell who's lying by just looking at these two images? Take a closer look. The shelves are signed. These 2 shelves are Nick's and the other 2 Paul's. These 3 items disappeared from Paul's shelves. This means that the liar is Nick, and it's time for a new roommate. Meanwhile, Liza and Paul are having a date tonight. Apparently, the lady on the lake survived the cracking ice. But Liza's dorm is situated on the opposite side of this maze. Can you help Paul pass through this labyrinth to meet his date? Here is the only way out. The college dean, Nina, hires a handyman to transform the area around the campus. That's what she says. Your task is to put 7 benches. I will triple your paycheck if you find a way to put exactly 6 rows of benches in a straight line. Also, each row should have 3 benches in particular. Can you help the handyman accomplish this task? He should put 3 benches as the vertices of an equal triangle. 3 more benches should be put at the center of each side of triangle. And the last bench should be at the center. The handyman gets to work and goes to the storage room to grab some tools. Can you find 2 identical items? Hey, here they are. The handyman is bored, so he starts a quiz game. He keeps asking the same question to every student he meets, but each time the answer is different. Can you guess the question? The handyman's question is, "How are you doing?" Hudson's teenage daughter, Jill, failed a test. So he makes her stay at home and study instead of going to a friend's birthday party. Meanwhile, Nina's teenage daughter, Jules, got sick. So she spends the entire day in her bedroom instead of going to the movies. Both daughters come down to dinner at 7 o'clock. Which parent was deceived? Nina, take a look at the window. It's raining heavily. Jules has wet hair and dirty water on the edges of her jeans. It means she was outside. Uh-oh, liar. The next morning, Hudson and Nina both wake up earlier to prepare breakfast for their families. Nina is making sandwiches. Meanwhile, Hudson is making eggs with bacon. Who's wrong? Hudson, oops, he forgot to turn on the stove. Hudson is walking to work through his favorite park and sees this scene. Can you spot what's wrong in this picture? There are two suns in the sky. Uh-oh, Tatooine. Hudson arrives at his class and starts with a witty riddle. Can you tell me which part of London exists in France as well? The correct answer is the letter N. A huge drama is taking place in a diner next to the college campus. The owner of this place screams, "Where's my money? It's 30 minutes till the end of the working day." But there's no money in the cash register. 3 employees have been working today, but they swear that they haven't touched the money. They say there have been no customers today. The boss doesn't believe them. He studies the employees, trying to spot the thief. Liza is wearing a pair of stylish sunglasses and brandy clothes. Mike is also wearing some costly designer clothes and an expensive phone. Robin is wearing a regular dress and fake jewelry. Who took the money? Nobody. Take a look at the sign on the door. It says open. That means that people on the street saw the closed sign on the other side. That's why nobody entered, and the cash register remained empty. Hudson finds a secret hallway in the basement of the college building. He decides to explore it and finds an old treasure chest. But as soon as he touches it, 3 zombie pirates come out and grab him. One of them says, "Hey, we've been protecting this gold for 500 years. You can't take it." Hudson notices that something's wrong with these guys. Can you figure out what exactly? Well, they seem fake. This zombie is wearing sneakers. The second one has a phone in his pocket. And the third zombie has a price tag attached to his saber. Ah, busted. Molly is very nervous. She met a great guy online, and today they're having their first offline date. They have never seen the pictures of each other. Their date will take place in an old part of the campus at night. Molly arrives at the meeting point and sees 2 guys. The first one says, "It's a weird place for a date, but I'm glad to see you." And the second guy says, "It's me. I couldn't wait to see you. You're even more pretty than your photos." One of them is Molly's date, while the other one, a dangerous criminal. Can you guess who is who? It's the second guy who is dangerous. He mentioned photos, but Molly didn't send her online crush any pictures of herself. Therefore, the first guy is her date. Molly and her date want to go to a local nightclub, but the guard can't let them in without a password. He gives the guys a hint. "The more places I go, the less you can see. Who am I?" Darkness is the password. It's a beautiful weekend day. Nina is working in her garden. Suddenly, someone attacks her from behind and she faints. Later that day, she gets better and talks to the police. Nina suspects one of her neighbors. Some of them don't really like her. Officers question 3 suspects. Bill says, "I've been planting trees with my daughter all day long." Sabrina says, "I was just peacefully watering my gorgeous flowers and continue to do so." Luke says, "I rarely leave my house, so I don't even know this woman." Who's suspicious? Sabrina's garden hose isn't even connected to the water source. It's just lying on the ground. Therefore, her story is fake. Hey, look at these couples. Can you spot anything weird here? Seems like the only real wife is the one on the right. She looks grumpy, but she is authentically human. Meanwhile, the lady on the left must be a robot. Just look at her legs. A local bank's money was stolen right in the middle of the day. But no one noticed that. Several days later, the room where the money used to be stored was found completely empty. There was just one note saying 7718. The police arrested 3 suspects, Bill, Jeff, and Cody, but the officers didn't know which of them was guilty. They invited a famous detective to crack the mysterious case, and the detective managed to decipher the note immediately. Can you do it too? So turn the paper upside down. This way, the numbers turn into a name, Bill. The man wants to enter an exclusive club, but he doesn't know the password. Another man walks up to the entrance. The doorman says 12, and the man says 6, and is allowed to enter. Another man approaches. The doorman says 6, the man says 3, and the doorman lets him in. Thinking he's heard enough, our guy walks to the door. When the doorman says 10, he says 5, but he isn't allowed to enter. What should he have said? Three. The correct answer is the number of letters in the word the doorman says. Martin was a robber. One day he was trying to escape from the police after robbing a bank. He had 3 gold bars in his arms, each weighing 20 pounds. Ooh. The only way to get away was to cross a bridge, which could only support 220 pounds. The 3 bars of gold weigh 60 pounds, and Martin weighed 180 pounds. Could he cross the bridge without getting rid of any of the bars? Now, Martin can't leave a bar of gold and come pick it up later, so the only solution is to make those bars fly. To make it happen, Martin must juggle them. This way, only 2 bars will add extra weight to the bridge, while the third one will always remain airborne. Voila! 180 plus 20 plus 20 equals 220, so the bridge can totally handle it. However, Martin couldn't handle it because he couldn't juggle, and the police got their man. A thief entered a high-end boutique and forced the shop assistant to open the safe. The shop assistant said, "The code for the safe is different every day, and if you harm me, you'll never get the code." But the thief managed to guess the code on his own. How did he do it? The thief was smart. The code to the safe was the word different, just as the shop assistant said. A wealthy businessman, Mr. Ben Swift, was taken away and locked up in a dark room. His phone had almost no charge. He could only send one message. He knew that someone could be spying on his phone, so he decided to send a message with a code to a high school friend, John Smith, who had a detective agency. He remembered that in high school, they would cipher messages to each other, replacing each letter with the one to the left. So he sent this. Can you guess what it means? It's not gibberish. Once you decipher it, the message reads accountant, so it seems his accountant is to blame. You're wandering through the jungle when, all of a sudden, you see a magnificent ancient castle. You enter it and see its inhabitants. It's kind of hard to say if they're friendly or not, but hey, look, they've just fetched you some snacks. Still, you can tell from their grins that these snacks might be a trap for you. You can't say no to them and need to choose something to eat. There are 4 muffins in front of you. They all look yummy and your mouth is watering. One of the inhabitants, who seems to be the leader, tells you that the first muffin has some fermented cabbage inside. The second is swarming with live ants. The third has mud instead of chocolate cream. And the fourth one has aki fruit inside. So, which dessert should you opt for? A muffin with fermented cabbage may sound weird, but it's safe to eat. You've tried fermented cabbage, aka kimchi, before and you loved it. For those who love unusual stuff, the fourth muffin is okay too. Aki fruit is delicious when cooked properly. As for the ants and mud muffins, I'd pass. Lucy is a nail technician. Her services are free to anyone who wants to set up an appointment. However, most people still end up paying her. How so? Lucy only does one hand for free, so most people who come end up paying the full price. They don't want to look weird with their nails done only on one hand. Poor Kathy lived with a stepmother and 3 wicked stepsisters. Her dream was to go to a lit party, which she had been waiting for a year. Her stepmother, Eveline, never let Kathy go anywhere. But this time, Eveline decided to let Kathy go as soon as she had finished with all her tasks. The stepmother asked Kathy to bring her some water, but she gave her a colander to carry the water. How can Kathy bring the water if she has nothing but a colander? Kathy needs to freeze some water and put it in the colander. It'll take some time to melt. When Eveline gets that colander full of ice, technically, it'll be full of water. Jeremy got lost while driving, so he found the nearest town and decided to spend the night in a hotel. After checking in, he went to the restaurant. Suddenly, the lights went off and everyone fell asleep. The next morning, Jeremy had a terrible headache and he couldn't remember anything. Look at these 2 photos. They were taken before and after the lights went out. Can you guess what happened? Look, there are some balloons in the first photo, but none in the second one. They must have been filled with sleeping gas. Someone wanted everyone to sleep. Jenny went grocery shopping and bought a lot of milk, yogurt, meat, and cheese. When she came back home, she realized that she had nowhere to store all these products as her fridge was already full. How can she save all the food she bought? Jenny needs to revise the stuff in her fridge. Look, there's a pack of rice, some chips, and even cookies. These products don't need to be stored in the fridge. Once she takes them out of the fridge, she'll have enough space to store the dairy products and meat she bought. Twiggy's got her 2 piggies. Alex grooves with his 2 wolves. And Tony has a pony. They're all on the shore of a vast and dangerous river. They need to get across, and there's only one small raft nearby. But it's not as simple as it might seem. There are 5 rules the guys need to follow. Rule number 1, the raft can only carry 2 of them. Number 2, only humans can row. Number 3, the piggies can't ride with Alex unless Twiggy is around. Number 4, the wolves can't ride with Twiggy without Alex. And finally, number 5, the pony can only ride with Tony. How can they all get across? First, they need Tony on board. He needs to take one of the wolves across the river. The rules don't prohibit it. When he comes back, Alex takes the second wolf across the river. Then Alex goes back alone. Twiggy joins him and they go to the other bank, where Twiggy leaves Alex and goes back alone. She gives the raft to Tony and his pony, and they go to the other bank. When they reach it, Alex takes the raft and goes back to pick up Twiggy. He picks her up, they go back, and Twiggy leaves Alex there. After that, she goes back to pick up her pigs one by one. Finally, I thought this was never going to end. Hey. Alright, wake up your brain, let's go. A man is trapped in a room that only has 2 possible exits. The first door leads to a room made out of magnifying glass. The blazing hot sun instantly fries anything or anyone that enters that place. Behind the second door, a fire-breathing dragon is hiding. Does the man have any chance to escape unharmed? Well, he just needs to wait until nighttime and then leave through the first door. This princess urgently needs your help. Can you help her find her frog prince among all these other frogs? Look, the princess is carrying a picture of the frog she's looking for. It can help you spot the right one. Here he is in the bottom right corner. I come out every night without being called. I am lost in the day without being stolen. What am I? If you think it's a star, you're absolutely right. I have a speed of almost 100 miles per hour, but I don't leave the room. You can cover me, but it won't prevent me from continuing ahead. I don't plan my visits. I can arrive at any moment at any time of the year. What am I? I'm a sneeze. Each of the 5 neighborhood dogs is enjoying one of the following activities: getting its ears scratched, playing catch, taking a nap, hiding a chew toy, and going for a walk. Pepper is either playing catch or hiding a chew toy. Neither Ginger nor Saber nor Bear is on a walk. One of the dogs named after a spice is getting its ears scratched. A dog not named after a spice is playing catch. Bear is getting some exercise. Can you figure out what each pooch is doing? Saber is taking a nap. Ginger is getting its ears scratched. Nutmeg is going for a walk. Pepper is hiding a chew toy. And Bear is playing catch. The combined weight of a cat and a guinea pig is 10 pounds. The weight of a dog and a guinea pig is 20 pounds. And the weight of a cat and dog is 24 pounds. Can you figure out how much each of the animals weighs and determine their common weight? The cat weighs 7 pounds, the guinea pig weighs 3 pounds, and the weight of the dog is 17 pounds. It means all animals will weigh 27 pounds. Ben and Grace are having a party. They're both preparing meals at the same time. Grace is at the grill and Ben is in the kitchen, but one of them is doing something wrong. Who is it? It's Ben. His stove is off. Then how is he cooking? 5 friends came to Kim's sleepover party. When it got too late, Kim's mom told them to go to bed. But sometime later, the woman heard some noise coming from the room. When she went to check, she saw that one of the windows was open. All of the teens were in their beds and seemed to be sleeping. But someone must have left the room and come back. Who was it? It was the girl on the left. Look, she's wearing her shoes, indicating she went outside and then returned indoors. What can be measured even though it has no length, width, or height? It's temperature. Take me out of a window and I leave a grieving wife. But stick me in a door and I can save someone's life. What am I? It's the letter N. John asked his friend Thomas how many children there were in his family. Thomas answered in a bizarre way, 2 pairs of twins twice. Can you figure out what he meant? In simple words, there are 8 children in Thomas's family. Look at this brain teaser closely. Can you figure out which part is missing? It's part A. Your friends come to congratulate you on your birthday. They have a great gift for you, but you can't get it so easily. First, you need to figure out the password to a combination lock. Luckily, your friends have some hints for you. Here, number 1 is correct and in the right place. 1 number is correct, but is in the wrong place in this combination. 2 numbers are correct, but in the wrong place. There are no correct numbers here. And in this combination, 1 number is correct, but in the wrong place. Can you open the combination lock and get your gift? The code you need is 394. Julia took part in a cooking competition. She decided to prepare her favorite muffins. She did her best and the muffins looked great. But when the jury members tried them, they started to make faces and sputter. It turned out someone had replaced the sugar with salt in the process of cooking. The girl understood she had lost her chance to become the winner. But at least she could figure out who had done it to her. She had 3 other competitors. Wayne told her he hadn't even been there. He forgot to buy several ingredients and did some last-minute shopping. Amber said that she had been preparing the icing for her cake. And Diana told Julia that she had been very busy with the recipe. It was complicated, and she had to follow it precisely. Very soon, Julia knew who had spoiled her muffins. And have you figured it out? It was Amber. She said she had been preparing the icing, but her cake is only sprinkled with some powdered sugar. Nancy was angry with her boyfriend Paul and sent him an email saying she was going to break up with him. But just an hour after sending the message, the girl found out Paul had done nothing wrong. Now she needed to delete the email from his computer. The girl knew Paul was at work, so she sneaked into his house. But the computer was protected by a password. Nancy thought the word she needed could be her name. Paul loved her very much after all. But the girl was wrong. And then an idea came to her mind. She typed in a word, and this time it was correct. Look at what Nancy saw on the screen and try to figure out the password. The password was 67683. These numbers correspond with the letters of Nancy's name. Dennis called the police and told them a large sum of money had disappeared from his dorm room. He thought the thief was one of his neighbors. The police arrived and questioned the guy's neighbors. Deborah, a designer, told the officers, "I had to finish an important project. That's why I pulled an all-nighter. When I sent the final version to the client in the morning, I went to bed and only woke up when you came." Aaron, a waiter, said, "I've had a very long shift today because one of my colleagues got ill. I haven't seen Dennis since yesterday." And Nathan, a vet, said, "I've just come back home. One of my patients called and told me he felt unwell. I had to hurry to the hospital where he was and stay with him." The police officers immediately understood who was lying. And you? It was Nathan who had taken the money. He lied about a patient calling him. He's a vet. Look at these three young ladies. Can you figure out who the cat belongs to? The owner of the cat is the blonde girl. She has the animal tattooed on her ankle. See? John was hungry. He took something, threw away the outside, and cooked the inside. Then he ate the outside and threw away the inside. What snack did he have? He had an ear of corn. Jason arrived at a hotel. He told the receptionist his name and received the key to his room and a note. There were just 3 letters there, F, B, and D.
Uh-oh.
After some thinking, the guy understood what his room number was. Do you know it too? It's room 624. F is the 6th letter of the alphabet, B is the 2nd, and D is the 4th. Look at this picture very closely. Can you figure out who the owner of this cute puppy is? The man on the left is holding a toy, but it's not a chew toy. It's actually his son's. The man on the right seems to have the same vibe as the pooch. But the real owner is the man in the middle. The puppy has a green bandana tied around his neck, and the man has the same bandana wrapped around his wrist.
Two successful movie producers, Noah and Rachel, are having breakfast on a restaurant terrace. They discuss the budget for a sequel to a very popular movie that earned $100 million at the box office. They speak very quietly because they suspect that someone might overhear them. Some curious people indeed eavesdrop on their conversation. Can you find them? There's a guy at the table holding a magazine upside down. Obviously, he is not interested in reading it. He must be listening to Noah and Rachel. That lady has a camera lens sticking out of her backpack, so she's probably a reporter. Fans will be able to read the producer's lips if she posts this video. And this handsome guy is busy eating his salad, but there's a microphone hidden in his long hair. 4 people enter the same restaurant and take a seat on the terrace. Jill is wearing 2 large gold bracelets and gold rings on each of her fingers. Mark is fiddling with a brand new phone and checking the time on his smartwatch. Kevin has a fancy tattoo on his hand and a dazzling gold watch on his wrist. Luke doesn't have any watches, rings, or bracelets, but he's wearing a smart suit. Only one of them is a millionaire. Can you guess who? It's Luke. He's got car keys in his pocket, and there's a brand new sports car parked nearby. Jill has old ripped shoes. All that gold can be fake. Mark's phone is a knockoff, and Kevin has old ripped shoes, just like Jill. After the meeting, Noah returns to his place. He needs these 3 items. Can you help him find them? Here they are. Noah wants to read the secret sequel script on his laptop. This file is protected by a password, which Noah doesn't remember. But here's a hint. He should enter all the bold numbers one by one. But first, he needs to decide what numbers to put instead of the question marks. He just needs to put a multiplication sign between the numbers on the left. So the answers are 0 and 18. And here's the correct password. Later that night, Noah throws a party at his house, where he usually lives alone. Everyone from his work is invited. In the middle of the party, Rachel finds Noah poisoned in his bedroom. A detective arrives to investigate and questions 3 main suspects: Amy, Kelly, and Connor. All of them deny entering Noah's bedroom. Who's lying? It must be Amy. Take a look at the bed. There's an earring. Amy is only wearing one earring that looks the same. Busted! Rachel lives with her husband, Chuck, and 3 daughters. Her dream is to go to the Academy Awards ceremony with Chuck. But unfortunately, her husband is an introvert. So he says, "All right, I'll go with you if you manage to bring me some water." Chuck only gives her a colander to fulfill this task. Can you help Rachel find a solution? She needs to freeze some water and put it in the colander. Technically, it's still water, right? It's time to choose an outfit for the ceremony. Rachel has 3 dresses: a yellow one, a red one, and a black one. Which dress should she wear? Rachel should wear the red dress. That button on the yellow dress is about to come off, and someone spilled some paint on the black dress. Rachel sneaks into her daughter's room to investigate who stained the black dress. This is the bed of the oldest daughter, Shelley. This bed belongs to Lily, the middle daughter. And this is the bed of Ella, the youngest one. Can you help Rachel figure out who ruined her dress? Ella. There's a half-empty bottle of nail polish on her dresser. The color matches the stains perfectly. Busted! Rachel gets ready and calls her 2 best friends to show them her outfit. Their names are Violet and Amber. They're putting on their makeup and getting ready for a night out too. Violet and Amber have really similar tastes. Their phones look the same, and so do their lipsticks and clothes. But, in fact, one of them has the more expensive stuff. Can you guess who? Take a look at Amber. Her dress logo gives her away since it's obviously a knockoff. One famous magician is performing at the ceremony's after party. He's going to show his most spectacular trick. The magician puts 8 different cards on the table and covers them with a black cloth. He asks Rachel to come closer.
Now you'll see 2 rows of 4 cards. I want you to select only one of them.
He lifts the cloth for 1 second and then covers the cards again. Rachel chooses 1 card. The magician looks at her and whispers, "Now close your eyes. Think about the card. Think of nothing else. I'm going to read your mind now." She closes her eyes. After a few seconds, the magician says,
Take a look at the table. I've removed your card and replaced it with a new one.
Rachel opens her eyes, and it's magic! He indeed removed the card she thought about. But how did he do it? There's no magic here. The magician replaced all the cards on the table with new ones. But Rachel didn't notice this since she was only focused on one card. Oliver is a famous movie director. He throws an after party in his hotel room after the ceremony and invites 3 actresses: Anna, Mona, and Donna. The next morning, a cleaning lady finds Oliver alone and unconscious in his room. None of the hotel staff or the actresses know what happened to him. The police arrive and they find a note next to Oliver's calendar. It reads 3, 10, 11, 8. The detective already knows who attacked Oliver. What about you? It was Mona. The note was next to a calendar. Take the first letters of each month and you get the name Mona. The next day, Rachel goes to the local farmer's market. Can you spot anything odd here? This lady is selling bakery goods, but the sign says fresh phones. Rachel approaches an apple seller. The green apple costs $1. A red one costs $2, and a blue apple costs $3. What apples and how many of them did Rachel buy if we know that she spent a total of $3 using only 2 bills? Rachel bought a green and a red apple. She paid for the green apple with a $1 bill, and she used the $2 bill to pay for the red apple. Of course, she could have grabbed a blue apple and given the same $3, but blue apples don't exist. Rachel is watching 3 people standing in front of an ice cream cart. The first guy is taking his ice cream from the seller. The guy behind him is nervous. His hands are in his pockets. The third guy is looking at something through his binoculars. One of them is a police officer. Can you guess who? It's the first guy. He has a police radio in his pocket. Rachel enters a local high-tech fair. Cyborgs are working here along with humans. But one of these robots is defective. Can you spot which one? The cyborg on the right has 2 thumbs on one palm. What do you say about these 2 cyborgs? The lady on the right is the defective one. Her hands need to be fixed. What about these robots? Which one is defective? It's the guy on the left. His eye needs to be fixed.
Sarah and Barbara are in grave danger. They've been locked up at a high-security prison for over a month. One day, a fire starts at the wing where they're located, and the guards flee the scene before helping them out. Take a look at these images. If you have any clue which one of them will get out of there alive, let us know. They both have it pretty rough, but Sarah, the woman on the left, is the one who will be able to escape. She can use one of the sticks from her hair to open the lock on her cell and run as fast as she can. Mandy and Sunny have pretty adventurous spirits. They love jumping off really high places with their skateboard and mountain bikes.
Yes!
One Saturday morning, Mandy went skating, and when she arrived at the jump, her board slipped on a banana peel. That same morning, Sunny went biking, and when she jumped, she noticed she was going to land on a dog. You gotta tell us which of these ladies is in an extremely life-threatening situation and which one is just in for a scare. Drop your comment below. Mandy is probably just going to have an adrenaline peak with that banana peel in her way, but Sunny is in real danger. There's no way to predict how this dog is going to react. If it decides to attack her, she's in for a tough ride. Ben needed to get across a park in the middle of the night. That area was a dangerous place and lots of robberies happened there, but he went anyway. He walked fast until, out of nowhere, a hooded man came up to him and knocked him out. He woke up after a few hours and noticed all his belongings were gone. Ben went to the closest police station to file a report. When he got there, the police were interrogating 3 suspects, Cole, Jerry, and Bernard. They were all in the park that night. The detective gave each of them a marker and asked them to write their names on a whiteboard. As soon as they finished, he immediately arrested the right person. Can you figure out how on earth did the detective know who was guilty based on this random test? What's your 2 cents on this one? The test wasn't all that random after all. Ben was hit from the right side, so the police were trying to figure out who was left-handed. And among these 3 guys, the only left-handed one is Jerry. After a terrible day at work, Brian went on a movie date with Jane. As she walked towards him, he saw a woman snatch Jane's purse and disappear with it into the building of the movie theater. Jane didn't have time to see the woman's face, but she scratched the woman's arm with her long nails.
Oh no.
The couple walked into the cinema and immediately spotted Jane's bag. It was on a bench between 2 women. As they approached the bench, both suspects stood up and walked to the opposite sides of the room. Take a look at the crime scene. Don't let the thief get away with it. Can you figure out who the culprit is?
Hey.
Don't keep it to yourself. Let us know. Since Jane scratched the woman's arm, the thief should have a sore arm. The woman on the left was wearing long sleeves, so she probably wouldn't get hurt. The woman on the right is trying to hide a red scratch mark with her other hand. Yup, looks like she's the one who did it. On a moonless night, Emma decides to watch a horror movie before going to bed. She passes out on her couch, and the next thing she knows, she wakes up in a haunted castle. She hears screeching sounds all over the place and screams in the distance. She walks carefully to the kitchen where she finds 4 suspicious plates ready to be eaten. She's starving, so bad that her stomach is growling. Take a look at the plates. You know you'll only find peace again if you can help Emma figure out which one of these plates isn't dangerous. Take your best guess and let us know below. Take a look at the soup. There are a couple of human eyeballs in it, which is definitely a no-go. The steak is half rotten already, and there are real-life spiders crawling all over the burger. The pasta looks the least harmful out of these options. Betty and her younger sister were kidnapped by a town villain. They woke up in a dark basement filled with many corridors. The villain left them alone for a while, and they took that chance to try to find an exit. They ran all over the place until they realized they were running in circles. Suddenly, from each of the 3 directions, standing before them, a man appears. Each of them said they were kidnapped too, and they knew the way out. But your suspicion tells you that only one of them is telling the truth, while the other two are probably working for the villain and will take you back as a hostage. Stop everything you're doing now and help Betty and her sister decide which men they should trust. If you have an eye for detail, you probably noticed that the second man has bruises on his arms. He probably really did escape from the evil man. Betty and her sister should trust this dude and run away with his help. Daisy and Pam got late for work due to the snowstorm that hit their town. Their bosses told them if they were a second late, they would get fired. So both women decided to walk to work through the storm. Daisy decided to take a shortcut through the woods, and Pam decided she would cross the frozen lake. Daisy ran into a mother bear with her small cub, while the lake started to crack right under Pam's feet. If you're as good a detective as I think you are, can you guess which of these ladies is in grave danger? Do share your thoughts. Sure, Daisy is in a pickle, but she can stand her ground until the mother bear and her cub pass along, I hope. Yes. But Pam is in serious danger. The lake cracked with her weight, and if she walked any further, she'd probably fall straight into the freezing water. A robber is striking again. He is creeping into neighborhood houses in the middle of the night, taking very expensive items from people's houses. On the first night, he stole a refrigerator from Ronnie's house. And then, on the following night, he snuck into Brendan's house and stole his fancy table. He managed to sneak into Bruce's condo and stole a designer chair. The same night, he stole a microwave from Gunther's house. The robber is planning to rob Phoebe's house next. Do you think he's most likely to steal a mixer, a juicer, a TV set, or her bicycle? Quick! Share with us your take before other bright side detectives figure it out. If you figured out the correct pattern, you know that the robber steals stuff according to their colors and the initials of a person's name. That's why he stole a red refrigerator from Ronnie and a gray microwave from Gunther. That means he's going to steal a purple mixer from Phoebe. Mike, Bob, and Percy were planning on proposing to their high school sweethearts at today's ball. They prepared everything, from the ring to the song that was going to play when the three of them popped the question. The night felt strange, and one of the guys was in extreme danger. Take a look at the couples. Jump in the comments with your guess of which one of them might lose their life if he proposes. It's Bob. Look at his partner's reflection on that mirror across the room. She's actually a witch disguised as Bob's girlfriend. He's in grave danger.